Yeah, yeah, 360. Yeah, I'm like round and round and round we go. And where we stop, I'm like nobody knows. 360 degrees, 360 degrees. We give you what you want, we give you what you need. 360 degrees, 360 degrees. We tell the real truth, you know what I mean? This the breakdown, 360 degrees. We give you what you want, we give you what you need. We talking politics and news and music reviews, as well as rap and TV. You know how we do, and music from some artists you never heard of. But when you hear them, you gon' show them some love. 360 degrees, 360 degrees. We give you what you want, we give you what you need.
And now begins another episode of 360 Degrees, the Urban Breakdown, featuring Mercer Prescott and his band of eclectic cronies.
So used to the politics intro. But I'm going to go ahead and get it started. We got Odie. I think Nation's coming on. I know Charles is in the past, different time zones, so hopefully he'll make it on. But I'm going to start with something a little bit more. My stuff is, I have my show on Mondays, Politics Mondays. We tape it 7 o'clock on Mondays, but I'm going to keep it on the politics side, but something a little bit more fun. So we're going to play a little game today, right? We're going to play Who is the Most Pathetic? So I'm going to go over 3 really quick things, and then you guys are going to weigh in and let me know who is the most pathetic person this week, or a group of people. So, number 1, we had protesters picketing a statue of Vladimir Lenin in Seattle, Washington. Now, they had a video of this. It was about maybe 7 or 8 people. So they're in front of a statue of Vladimir Lenin in Seattle. They're marching around in a circle. One guy has a megaphone. People have signs that says like alt-left hate and stuff like that. It's pretty pathetic, right? So I know what you may be asking yourself. How in the hell did a statue of Vladimir Lenin end up in Seattle, Washington, of all places? So, kind of an interesting story. The statue was from Czechoslovakia back during the Soviet era. When the Soviet Union fell, that statue ended up in a junkyard. A teacher on vacation in Russia, in Czechoslovakia, I forget what it's called now, but they saw the statue and had it transported back to the United States. So now where that statue sits, it's private property. Right, but the statue, they consider it art. So the statue's not there for a political statement; it's there for art. The statue gets vandalized all the time, because it's a statue of Vladimir Lenin. For you history buffs, who he is the architect of the Soviet Union, which took over Russia for over 70 years. So it's not really a statue. It's not like sitting in a public square. It's on private property. But these guys figured, hey, this guy's a bad guy, so, they're tearing down all these Confederate statues, and there's a statue of Vladimir Lenin, so we're going to picket it. The statue is on private property. So, if you see the video, it does look so pathetic. Because there's like 9 of them. They're singing their songs, they're marching in circles. It's pathetic. So the second thing is Donald Trump. I know there's so much to choose from with Trump, but this one caught my eye. There was a music teacher, right? And he teaches at a local high school, and he made a couple of apps to teach kids how to play the trumpet and the trombone. So it's an app, and then it has like the keys you play, and it helps you play certain songs, either solo or accompanied by music. So the trombone one, he calls it iBone, because people call the trombone, the bone is like a nickname for the trombone. For the trumpet, he called it iTrump, which is short for the trumpet. And basically, Donald Trump's organization sued this school teacher, gave him a cease and desist order, wanted him to rename it because Trump is on this crusade. Anything that has Trump in it belongs to Donald Trump for some reason.
Right.
So you have a school teacher with no resources versus Donald Trump's crew of jackal lawyers. Who won? The school teacher won. The school teacher he couldn't afford a lawyer, so he represented himself in court. And it's not that he won the case, it's basically, well, he did win one major court battle, and then Trump's organization dropped the case. You know how long they've been trying to sue this guy? 6 years.
Wow.
A 6-year battle Trump's lawyers lost against a school teacher because he named it I Trump. And one of the teacher's points was, hey, even in the Bible they used that term because Trumps have been around for thousands of years. So that's pathetic. And then one last thing, this is a group thing, neo-Nazis taking cutbacks. So, you know, they had the whole thing in Charlottesville last week where unfortunately a young woman lost her life when a neo-Nazi ran over her and 20 people. Since then, they've had all these neo-Nazis on camera, and they've been being identified, and they've been losing their jobs.
Naturally.
Well, first of all, the Daily Stormer got dropped by, they were on GoDaddy. The Daily Stormer is a neo-Nazi newsletter that printed horrible things about Heather Heyer, you know, the poor woman who died, saying that she was a fat, childless loser. GoDaddy dropped her. So then the Daily Stormer tried to get on Google, and then Google was like, oh, hell no. They canceled their application. They're like, no, you can't be part of us. So now they're being hosted by a web service in Russia. Go figure, right? You had one guy, he was working at a hot dog restaurant, Winky Dinky Dog or whatever the hell hot dog restaurant he was working at. They saw him and they fired him. Another guy was working at a pizza chain. He got fired. You had the crying Nazi, the guy who was on the video. You know what that video reminded me of? Somebody made a joke about it, and I thought it was true. Remember that guy who made that video, "Leave Britney alone"? That's what it looked like.
Oh, yeah.
Because somebody told him, and we don't even know who told him, but someone told him there was a warrant out for his arrest. So he's making this video, like, trying to humanize himself, and he's literally crying. He's literally sniffling on camera, like, you pussy. And my favorite of all.
He was talking mad shit, but, like,
yes,
that's what killed me about that guy. I mean, he was talking so much shit. He was like,
he was on that Vice video.
More violence. I hope, like, all this other type of dumb shit, and then, like, totally bitched up.
Yeah. There were some organizations like I usually watch Sam Cedar's show, right? Majority Report, and they wouldn't play it because they felt it was some sort of like a trick because they figured no one could be that much of a puss, but obviously he was. He had a profile on OkCupid, and OkCupid was like, nah, no way.
I did hear that.
They canceled his profile.
Look, Bumble sent out a whole email. That's a dating app we talked about a couple of weeks ago that I used, and they sent out a whole thing that said we're not going to tolerate hate, and if you see it, report it, kind of stuff. And and I remember you saying on the show a while back that, well, I'm glad Blue didn't hear me. Not technically this show, but our old format. Anyway, I remember you saying on the show a while back that that Trump supporters were having a hard time finding love on the internet. Yep. And I'm sure it's gotten 10 times worse since all this stuff has surfaced. So just go ahead and be lonely and miserable. Y'all trying to be haters anyway. I don't know how in the world you're going to find love in your world full of hate, but okay.
One guy is being investigated because he was at the rally in a Verizon shirt, and it looked like a Verizon shirt that's worn by someone who works there. So they're trying to find out if and I don't know if it came at the investigation, but Verizon said they were looking into it. So if they find out that dude worked for Verizon. But my favorite of all is this kid had to be maybe like 19, 20, right? he was part of the neo-Nazi group, and there was a cameraman that was following him, and a whole bunch of counter protesters came toward him, and he was like, no, man, I'm not with these guys, I'm not a Nazi. And he takes off his shirt. He was wearing like a white polo shirt, so like all the other Nazis were wearing. He took off his polo shirt and was like, no, man, not me, I'm not one of them. So he was by himself, and this is not the most intimidating looking kid at all, you know. And when he was with a group, he was like, yeah, white power. And then once he was by himself and he seen the counter protesters, he literally stripped down so that they wouldn't get him. And a cameraman was following him and asking him, because he was saying, well, you know, I'm just here for the fun, because it's fun to be offensive. And then the cameraman asked him, was he going to put his shirt back on? And he was kind of like, he dodged that question, because he didn't want to be like, no, because they're going to get me, you know. They can cut back. Oh, go ahead.
I talked to my mother about how that has historically always happened. It's always a mob mentality. You're tough as long as your boys are right there behind you, but when shit gets real and you're by yourself, you are not going to confront, you know, that group of black guys. You're not going to confront a black man one-on-one, a woman, whatever, whoever it is that they're hating on. It's completely that mob mentality. And when we first moved down here, there's a place on Tryon Road. They're really nice, like, townhomes now, and they turned in, like, is it Tryon? Yeah, it's Tryon Road. And it used to be an area, it used to be a lake. And I can't remember the lake's name, but they have, like, a little water slide and everything outside. And one day my parents took us over there, and, took me over there. And when we were about to go inside, like, there was this group of white men in a pickup truck that were calling us niggas. So we turned around and just decided to leave. We didn't decide to stay and never went back to the place, even though it doesn't exist anymore. And my mom just remembered, like, feeling like, oh, damn, like, this is a trade-off. Like, yeah, I wanted her not to be raised in New York because of the potential craziness there, but we ended up moving down south, and that was, like, kind of the trade-off. Like, damn, now I got to deal with these hicks, you know, these racist people, or people who try to be bold enough to say it out loud, even though we're not bothering anybody. So
right.
They won't say it to your face. Never that.
Right. So out of the three scenarios, who do you guys think is the most pathetic? So you have protesters protesting art on private property. We have Donald Trump's crack team of lawyers being defeated by a penniless school teacher, or we have neo-Nazis taking a cutback. So who's the most pathetic one out of those three?
I'm going to go with the lawyers taking the loss, because they went to school for that.
That's what
you went to that and you still fucked it up. You got paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and you wasted all of those resources only to be defeated by someone who, essentially didn't go to school for that. He went to school to teach. He's a music teacher. He's not even like a political science teacher, because then I might even give it, to someone else, but he's a music teacher. How did you, that's pitiful.
He was my pick too, because I could just imagine like the meeting that Donald Trump had with his lawyers afterwards, after being defeated by a school teacher, and like you said, school teachers are highly intelligent, but that's not their trade. They're not lawyers. So this guy literally went to the library, and that's what he said. He said he went to the library and studied up on it, and took on Donald Trump's crack team of lawyers and won. But if I had to give a close second, I would have to say the people protesting the statue, because come on, man, it's on private property. It's people who are just reactionary. But Donald Trump thing I thought was the most pitiful.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
And I know I'm biased because it's Trump, but it has nothing to do with Trump himself. It has to do with his lawyers just failing on that next level. But then again, their lawsuit was bullshit anyway. And if they were smart, they would have told Donald Trump, "Hey, don't take this case, man, because it's the trumpet. The trumpet has been around for thousands of years. You've been around for maybe 70 years. So the trumpet beats you out by a few thousand years. Why would you sue a guy for calling it something I trump on an instrument that was used in the Bible?" So, his lawyers get that loss. I mean, as much as I hate Trump, his lawyers take that responsibility because, people talk about legal advice. Their advice should have been, yeah, let's not sue this guy. Put it like, I know I mentioned this on our old format, but they were talking to one of those 1990s reggae artists, right, on Kiss FM or BLS, one of those New York radio stations back then. Mm-hmm. And they asked him about, you had all these reggae artists who would cover stuff like Tony Braxton's Breathe Again or Tracy Chapman's Fast Car and do a reggae version of it. And they would ask, like, don't you guys ever get sued? And he was saying, like, well, the record companies notice it, that they're taking these songs, but they don't sue because you figure somebody who does a reggae version of Breathe Again, right? It's not like they're going gold. They may sell like 25,000, 30,000 vinyl copies that the DJs have, or they may end up on a reggae compilation that sells maybe like 15,000, 20,000, maybe 40,000 copies. It would cost more to sue them than what they would get back in compensation. No. So that's just...
Yeah, I was wondering how that works, because I always hear redos of some, of reggae music. Or like regular songs doing like dance hall style.
Yeah. And it's pretty popular. People love that sort of stuff. But because they don't go gold and platinum, the record companies just let it slide because there's no money in suing them. Because they don't have any money. They don't really make a lot of money off of it. So, but that's all I have for that part. Odie, what do you have?
What do I have? So, I do kind of want to circle back to last week's episode. We were talking about insecure and the use of condoms. Just as a heads up, of course, this past week's episode, there was plenty of sex, a lot more sex. The episode actually focused on what's called the hoe phase, but this time it wasn't so much Issa's whole phase as much as it was Lawrence's, her ex-boyfriend. And since then, Issa Rae actually made a statement about the use of condoms on the show. She said, we can do better. So we hear you guys. We'll try to do better for next season. So that's her official statement. And I guess we'll see some condoms on the, on the nightstand or whatever, maybe next season. But as far as the whole phase itself is concerned, I was hoping a couple more of you guys would be a little present today as far as what, if you've ever gone through what's called the whole phase. And if so, what kind of got you to that point? Because it seems like men, if they go through a situation, if they go through a breakup, they try to just F their feelings away to get over it, whereas it seems to be a little more strategical from the female standpoint, even though in this case on the show, both of them are trying to, fuck their feelings away. So I was just wondering if there was any truth to that.
For me, no. I mean, when I go through breakups, I'm usually just too depressed to even think about that. And it's funny when you mention that there was a song from an artist named Peaches, and it's called "Fuck the Pain Away." That just made me think of that.
Peaches.
Yeah. He's one of those.
Not even the title. It's the name of the artist that got me more than the title. But
basically, I mean, I'm just going by other people's experiences, because like I said, I've never really had that whole phase, because usually, like I said, when I go through a breakup, I'm just pretty depressed and out of it, and then after a while I snap out of it and try to get back into it.
What about when you were working? I remember you said like you worked in New York and you were doing like construction and you were kind of like out in the streets. It was like you had your weekend time, but during that weekend you didn't have a whole phase then, like where you was just, you had some money in your pocket, you know, you saw this girl, that girl, the next girl.
Oh, I mean, you try, but, you know, put it like this. I'll tell you a funny story, right? And I guess because I'm not really that guy, I'm at a club, and I don't like clubs anymore. And, you know, the only thing I like to see on a club is a going out of business sign. I think clubs are just garbage. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't have any success there like other people have. So maybe I'm just being bitter, like how people feel about unions. But, I'm in a club, and I don't drink alcohol. So I get to the club, and I'm just trying to feel my way around. I just got there, you know, and, you know, me and my brother and my friends, we don't want to be a wolf pack, so let's just spread out, right? Because no one wants to approach a guy when he's got like 4 other guys hanging over his shoulder, right? So I'm at the bar, and I order a soda, because like I said, I don't drink alcohol. And I don't even know where they came. I think they just teleported. The next thing you know, there's like 2 women, like one on each side of me, right? And I was like, all right, this has never happened to me before, but let me just take advantage of it. So I'm chatting them up a little bit, you know, trying to be charming. And then one of them was like, what you drinking? And I was like, just Coca-Cola, just soda. And both girls went, psh, and then just walked away. And my brother saw that from afar, and he was like, what did you say to them? And I was like, nothing. I just said, I just don't drink. And they were just like, whatever. You know, I guess.
Wow.
You know, I'm not going to say I didn't try to go to that whole phase. I'll just say I wasn't very successful because it wasn't really my area. I don't get girls by trying to, you know, with the goofy ass pickup lines or, you know, hey baby, I want to sop you up with a biscuit. That's not me. Well,
it's actually really funny that you say that, because Lawrence's whole phase began with him going to the grocery store, and there was like a series of events that leading up to that where he actually had dropped his bank card out of his wallet when he was looking for his license earlier in the day. So he goes to the grocery store and he doesn't have the money to pay for it, and these 2 women behind him are like, oh, we'll offer to pay. And they were like, okay, like, you know, where's the party at? Because he was buying beer. And they were like, oh, sure, it's like $11 or whatever. And they still paid it for him, even though it was like $45 or whatever. So that was their opening to like try to flirt with him. So maybe you just need to be a little more alert of the signs, Merce. People might be flirting with you and you don't even know it. Maybe. Even at the grocery store. You just got to be alert. So he actually, basically, after he meets these women, they're like, it's too bad you got to hang out with your boy. So he ditches his friends and then proceeds to go home and have sex with them, both of them. So,
and yeah. I figure it like this. That'll never happen to me at the supermarket, because I go to the supermarket at 6:30 in the morning just so I don't have to talk to people. I just go there. I'm home by 7:15. So
I'm just saying, you never know. You never know. It might be another chick there with the same mindset. You just have to, you know, she might be on her way to work, whatever.
I'll put it like this. I just stopped caring about that sort of thing. Because my brother, I mean, he's married now. He just had a kid. I got to go see her. My niece, I got to go see her, you know, before she learns to drive a car. Because I'm that much of a homebody. I mean, even though she's only like 6 months old. But he's the type of guy who could pull girls at the supermarket, because he's not going to go to a supermarket unless he has his shirt ironed. You know what I mean? He tries to look good. We were like opposites. And we're friends. I call him my brother, but, you know, we grew up together, you know. And we were like total opposites in that regard. Because he, like, wherever he has to go, if he has to take his car into the mechanic, he's looking fresh. Me, if I got to go to the supermarket, I'll pull clothes out of the hamper, put on to go to the supermarket. We were like total opposites in that regard, you know. But he always had great luck with the women. And actually, I say that because people were like, oh, man, James is so lucky. I'm like, no, he's not lucky at all. That's skill. You know, when I get those hookups, that's luck. When he gets them, that's skill, you know, because he knows what he's doing. You know, he tried to get the rub off on me, but, you know, I'm not that guy on the cover of Ebony Man. That's not me. I don't wear button-down shirts unless I'm going to court or a job interview.
So the thing, of course, this whole situation of going through a whole phase is a double-edged sword, because if you're a woman, I do remember reading something a long time ago, and I cannot tell you what the magic number was, but I do remember reading something that said if you have X amount of partners, then the likelihood of marriage decreases by this much %.
I don't believe in that, but go on.
Oh, that's the thing. It's like, how do you even correlate the two? Because first of all, everybody knows everybody lies about their number. Let's just put that out there. Everybody lies about their number. At least, like, I heard Fabulous say in a song once, yeah, like, you got to take 5, which really means, like, you got to add 5 or whatever based on whatever number she says.
Right.
So, generally speaking, people do lie about their number because I guess they feel embarrassed about it, whatever. And it's just like, how do you correlate the two? It just seems like a false bet. Like, how can you say, oh, you're less likely to get married? Like, it's not like I can meet Mr. Right tomorrow and then he just automatically knows, like, no, I'm going to definitely just be a fuck buddy to her because I can tell she had a whole phase and her number is this. The double standard just pisses me. It's crazy. You know what?
It's basically like those things on Facebook where it's just like, hey, which Star Wars character are you? And they're like, do you like the color green? Yes. You are Yoda. Like, what the fuck, man? That doesn't even make any damn sense. Like, and my problem is, why would you make a study like that? Because it's not like, you know, to me, that's more of a personal thing. To me, that's not an algorithm that helps you in relationships. So, and maybe, I mean, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a statistician. So, but one of the problems I had with my last girlfriend, my last relationship, was I didn't talk about that sort of thing a lot. And I didn't ask her about that sort of thing a lot. And she was kind of like, well, aren't you curious? I'm like, no, because the past is in the past. Me and you are here now. Let's just move forward. I don't give a shit about your other boyfriends, because if they were that great, you'd still be with them, right? So let's not worry about those guys. Let's just worry about me and you moving forward. That's how I feel about it. You know, whether she had 10 partners or 100 partners, what does that matter to me? You know, and not all guys feel that way. If you look at the, you know what that reminds me of? A stat like that, a poll like that. It reminds me of, and you mentioned the double standard. That is 1,000% true. Women are on the short end of the stick of that double standard all the time.
Absolutely.
So if a woman has a lot of sexual partners, she's considered to be dirty. And a guy has a lot of sexual partners and he's a hero, unless he's married. I'm looking at you, Tiger Woods. But it's a horrible double standard, and it basically just inhibits women. You know, who gives a shit if a woman goes through a whole phase? Well, you think these men are just going through whole phases by themselves?
Exactly. Like, doesn't it take 2 to tango, so y'all both hoes? End of story.
Yeah.
That's how I see it too, but that's too logical, I guess. Whatever.
It's too much thinking. So.
Yeah, those are the only questions I had about that. I was just curious where you guys stood with the whole phase thing.
Put it like this.
Should be entitled to have one. It's. I mean, on the plus side, I mean, it's like you get to discover what you like and what you don't like, and that's a disadvantage of having one partner for your entire life. Like, how do you know what is sexually gratifying if you haven't tried different flavors? Like, geez, like.
Well, some people get like I have friends of mine that I went to high school with, right? They've been dating since they were like in 8th grade, and they're married now. and their kids are, I graduated back in '89. So their kids are getting ready to graduate high school now, but that's been their only relationship is with each other. And sometimes if you find that good thing, maybe you don't need other flavors. Maybe if you like Rocky Road, stick with Rocky Road. And maybe some people may wonder about like some Ben and Jerry shit, but you know what? If I like Rocky Road and Rocky Road's always going to be there for me, let's go with Rocky Road. The thing I like about my brother being married now and having kids is
there's a couple of people I know like that too. But I generally say they are the exception, and I highly doubt that there wasn't a time in those people's relationships where they did dip into some other flavor. We just don't know about it. I'm sure they did. 9 times out of 10.
With those two, with other people that I don't know, I could probably say yes. With those two, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But with other people, I don't know. But with those two, yeah, I know. They've only been there for each other since they were in 8th grade. And they will be there for each other until the end. And you know what? That's a fantastic thing. And I hope it does work out that way. Maybe I'm just a romantic, but.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. But.
Okay, there was. So we're not going to talk about Durham.
Not yet. Well, you know what? We're taping. I didn't really get too much into Durham. I didn't get a chance to read about it. I was going to talk about it on Monday, but we can go over it now. I heard.
Yeah, I don't have.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't have a lot to talk about. I'm just appreciative of how the shit went right. It could have gone all the way left, but when I say right, I don't mean in the alt-right way. I mean it went left. I
heard there was only, like I said, I didn't get too much into it, but I heard there was only one arrest and nobody got hurt.
Yep. And it turned into a dance party, and I actually did the math. I was like, damn, it's the third Friday. So it was kind of popping. It was already going to be popping in Durham anyway because it's third Friday. We have first Friday here in Raleigh where there's art and music downtown. Durham's version of that is on third Fridays. So it was already going to be a chill, relaxed environment with a lot of liberal people in attendance. But the fact that those cowards just turned around and ran and never even showed out, it's great. And I loved seeing the little memes this week where it was saying, "Dear KKK, can you hold your next protest in Durham?" And then they filled them in with different cities, like in Brooklyn or the Bronx. I want to see something real quick.
Yeah.
And
course, I got that one.
Yeah. So Durham, I saw one with Durham specifically listed, and the fact that was supposed to happen in Durham, and it went exactly as we all expected. They showed us to be the cowards that they are, and it didn't go down, and everybody was pretty safe for the most part. It was pretty cool.
I was watching Seth Meyers' show, right? I like Seth Meyers a lot, and he was talking about how in Baltimore, in the middle of the night, they took down 4 Confederate statues, right? And Seth Meyers was like, after he said that, so, well, they took down 4 Confederate statues in the middle of the night in Baltimore, and he's like, oh, so the alt-right is not going to march in Baltimore? Huh, that's funny. I wonder why not. They wouldn't last 30 seconds. They wouldn't last 30 seconds in Baltimore. And my thing is this, I don't want anybody to get hurt. So I'm glad that they're not marching in Baltimore, but just the fact that they would even think about it just lets me know all I need to know about them. So I'm glad this thing in Durham went over very well, and I'm glad nobody got hurt. And if one person got arrested, I'm pretty sure they'll be all right. Why did they get arrested?
In Durham?
Yeah. They said there was one arrest.
That I don't know. I don't know. Oh, yes, it was. I do take that back. It was a man. He tried to. Oh no, damn. See, all my events are getting mixed up. This has been a fucking crazy week. There was a man that was arrested for trying to pepper spray someone, but I'm not entirely sure if that was in Durham. because it's been madness all week. I don't know. The cities and everything are starting to blur together. But someone did get arrested for trying to pepper spray someone. I think that was, but I'm not 100% sure. But
maybe I'm just trying to be macho here, but I always figured pepper spray, aside from the police, it's more of like a woman's weapon. Like a woman's... Like
older man. He was an older man.
Welcome to advancement to get pepper sprayed or maced.
He wasn't trying to put hands on people. He was an older man, so I kind of, you know what.
Then, you know what? 1,000% forgiven. I don't expect old men to be throwing right crosses at people. Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong.
He wasn't a young man. He was an old man. I guess those days were behind him, so he went with the pepper spray.
You know what? God bless him. I put it like this. I mean, I'm in my mid-40s, right? And no, I'm no longer in fighting shape. I mean, I say fighting shape like I was a pro boxer, but I ain't trying to fight nobody no more, man. Them days is done, right? But I'm not at the pepper spray phase yet. You know, give it another 10, 15 years. And yeah, I'll pepper spray the living shit out of you. But for now, I still might hook off on you if you mess with me. I haven't gotten past that punch you in the nose phase yet. So, but if he's an old man, yeah, pepper spray him, tase him. You know, do what you gotta do, man. They used to say in the West Indies, old people don't get old by being stupid. So, do what you gotta do to survive, man. This ain't like when Mike Tyson fought Mitch Green out in the streets, right? Mike Tyson said he was kind of scared, you know? And his rationale was sound. Because in the streets, there's no referee. If somebody's beating on you, there's no Richard Steele there to stop the fight. And he had a point. So, I'm glad everything went okay in Durham. And I hope there's more peaceful protests to continue. Because we really need it.
Yeah, we need that. It's definitely better for our mental health.
All right. So, quick transition over. I found out there was a website, right? In this website, they have over 130 movies that are being remade from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
How many?
At last count on the website, it was 137. And I know there's more coming. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. It's too many remakes. There's no writers anymore. So what I'm going to do is, for this part of it, I'm going to go over a few remakes. And you tell me what you think of them. Right? Hold on.
All right. Let's do it.
Let me get my notes. I wrote up notes. Like, as if I'm a professional. So, for one, first one is Suspiria. It's a horror movie that came out in 1977. Dario Argento directed it. He's a famous horror director in Italy. And it's a horror classic. It's like on the list of like 100 greatest movies of all time.
Never seen it, so yes, because obviously it might be a generational thing.
Right.
And you said it came out in 77?
77.
Yes. Remake it. I love a good horror movie. I've never heard of it, so absolutely. What's the premise, though?
The premise is basically there is an American girl who goes to a prestigious ballet school in Italy and then finds out that it's run by a coven of witches. So it sounds weird, but it was actually, and then, you know, they had the jumping soundtrack, and it was, for a horror movie, it was very colorful, you know. Like, and I was watching Cinema Snob he did a spoof piece on it, and he said it basically looks like the room where she was staying. It looked like a room in Liberace's house. So for a horror movie, it was very colorful.
All right.
And you don't really get that in horror movies, and it was still scary and creepy. So now the 2017 version is going to have Chloe Grace Moretz and Tilda Swinton. And you know what? I was against it until I found out they were in it, because I like Tilda Swinton and I like Chloe Grace.
I know who Chloe Grace. Now she does look like Tilda. Okay. I know who Tilda Swinton is. She's definitely going to be a witch.
Yeah.
had to Google her. I had to Google her to remind me. I was like, oh, okay.
So I changed my vote on it. At first I was like, no, it was perfect the way it was. Don't change it. But then I found out who was going to be in it, and I was like, let's give it a shot. Because Chloe Grace Moretz was also in the remake of Carrie with her, and I actually ended up buying it. I thought it was actually really good.
I did not watch that remake. I thought that one was actually too soon. I never watched that version of Carrie. She wasn't Carrie. She was the girl, right? She was the friend, the survivor.
Who? Chloe? No, she was Carrie.
Oh, she was actually Carrie. Okay.
Yeah. And God, I can see her face in my mind all the time, and I keep forgetting her name. But she played Carrie's mom. She was also really good, because I didn't think they'd find someone crazy enough to be Carrie's mom. And I liked the ending fight scene between Carrie and Carrie's mom. They updated it, and it was a lot more vicious, which I liked a lot. You know. I also found out they're remaking Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Now,
is that Steve Martin?
Yes. Now, the original version came out in 1964 with Marlon Brando, and it was called Bedtime Story. And then in '88, they made it with Steve Martin and Michael Caine. Right?
No.
So it was basically... It's basically two con men try to settle their rivalry by betting on who can swindle a young American heiress out of $50,000 first.
No. Now
the reboot, right? It's going to be that same premise, but it's going to be called Nasty Women. And it's going to star...
Oh, my gosh. So if you're just going to take the same movie and have female comedians, no.
And get this. They're going to have Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson.
No.
I know I come off as a chauvinist by saying don't take movies with men and remake them with women for the sake of doing it. If you, like, for instance, like Mad Max, right? The reboot. And they had a lot with Charlize Theron's character, Furiosa, right? And, of course, all the He-Man women haters were mad. That movie would not have been the same without her. Right?
Charlize Theron is a gift. She is a fantastic actress, and she plays a great bad guy. I loved her in Fast and the Furious. I loved her in... I still haven't seen Atomic Blonde yet, but I look forward to watching it because of her.
Absolutely.
And that's not the same thing. And actually, Ghostbusters... I thought was appropriately timed, and I enjoyed Ghostbusters the remake. I didn't think it was as terrible as people tried to say it was. I enjoyed that.
I liked the only part about Ghostbusters that I liked was the action, like at the fights at the end. Because I mean, if you watch the original Ghostbusters, they're basically just standing there with their little twizzle sticks and just shooting at stuff, right? They had an actual fight scene at the end of Ghostbusters, and that I liked a lot. You know. With them actually fighting the ghosts, I did like that a lot. Right. But I mean, as far as just the movie goes, and then it's almost like they were saying "f you" to men by making I keep calling him Thor, but making Thor's part like he was just too dumb. You know, he was way too dumb, and that was like a kind of like.
Don't they have versions of that like? I know what you mean. I get, it was too ironic. I get what you're saying, but look.
But
no, I was saying no about this remake, the last remake you mentioned, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, before you mentioned it. So it's before you mentioned who was playing it. So I can't even say, oh, I'm just being biased because it's female. No, no, this is a terrible idea.
Now,
depends on, I will say this though. Sometimes you see stuff on paper, and then when you see the trailer cut a certain way, you're like, oh, I will go watch that. Whoever cuts the trailer is going to be the MVP, because if that can change my mind, then I'll just eat my words.
And you know what? It's not on my list. It's not on my list right now, but Death Wish was like that for me. Because I found out they were remaking Death Wish, and I was like, whatever. And I saw the trailer with Bruce Willis, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go see it. But the next movie on my list is Overboard. Overboard came out in 1987, and it starred Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah. Yes, I love that movie. It's really cute. I like that movie.
Now they're going to do a remake, but it's going to have Anna Faris and Eva Longoria. So I don't know. Now the thing is, there's no trailer.
Eva's probably going to be the bitch. I do have to give that. I think Eva Longoria would be the bitch.
I don't know, but because Anna Faris could play a really good bitch when she wants to. I know people usually see her for a comedy, but you know, she could be a bitch in movies when she has to be. And I don't know the plot yet, if it's going to be the same as it was in '87, but because I saw Overboard like once when it was on cable, and I don't even remember most of it. All I remember is that Goldie Hawn played a spoiled rich woman who cheats a carpenter out of a bunch of money, and then she falls overboard from her yacht and gets amnesia. So to get revenge,
right,
he pretends that they're married, and
yes,
gives her like a working class life.
Yes,
that much I do remember. So, but I guess because I haven't, I just want to see how you felt about it. But I guess I've never seen it. Like, or at least I don't remember.
I need a little more information about who's going to be who, because that's not immediately clear.
Right.
But I would be open to it. It just depends on. I need more information.
Right. Now, the next one on the list is Maniac Cop. And I was just like, okay, I normally don't like when they remake horror movies, but I'm all for this one. Maniac Cop was a campy movie from 1988. Bruce Campbell was in it.
It's based on a true story.
I joke about that. Whenever I see, like, you know, whenever a cop kills someone, I know which one. But I'm always like, right, you know, since when did Maniac Cop become a documentary as opposed to, you know, a campy horror movie? But Maniac Cop was about a police officer, very brutal, who basically gets put in prison. And they put him in general population, and of course the other prisoners turn on him and they kill him. So he comes back as an undead cop who just kills civilians at will. And Bruce Campbell's character gets framed for the murders because the Maniac Cop killed his wife, who he was having problems with because Bruce Campbell was cheating with another cop. So
that sounds really good, actually. I've never seen it. This sounds good as hell, though. Yeah. It would be nice if they put like a spin on it, because do some like Black Lives Matter shit. Then like the black people kill cops, the BLM people kill cops. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that they'll put some sort of modern spin on it, because I don't think they would remake it and just make it like a shot-for-shot remake like they did with The Omen, which I thought was stupid. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure they're going to put a modern twist to it. So we'll see what happens. But I was like, you know what? I don't have a story yet, but let's see what happens. So the next one is Papillon. Now, Papillon, I remember watching so many years ago, and I think I got it confused with Escape from Alcatraz. That's how long ago it's been since I've seen it. But my thing is this, right? It was about a man who befriends a fellow criminal as the two of them began serving their sentence on a prison island. And their friendship inspires a man to plot his escape, right? So they're making a 2017 version. The original one came out in '73. Now, my thing is this, right? The 2017 version has Charlie Hunnam and Tommy Flanagan. And I know you'll probably be, that's what I was like, who the fuck are these guys, right? The original movie in '73 was Dustin Hoffman and Steve McQueen. So let me ask you a question. What actors are you going to get to compare to 1973 Dustin Hoffman and Steve McQueen? I'm going to have to pass on that one. I may have to see a trailer.
It sounds like a good plot, though, just the wrong cast.
Yeah. Now, having a movie be unknown, having unknowns in the movie is not bad. It's just who you're following. Because there's plenty of people who I never heard of before, and now I know them. You know?
True, but damn, at least one person, though. At least one. Like,
Yeah.
I say, you know, you got to bring people in. You got to bring the loyal people in, the ones that know, okay, this is a box office. You know, this is somebody to bring people into the box office for sure, so you can't fail.
But I guess they figured that movie came out 40 years ago. All those people in their eyes are probably all dead. So we'll see what happens.
At least dead in Hollywood.
Yeah. Now, the next movie is The Thomas Crown Affair. Now, the original came out in '68 with, once again, Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway. So in the 1968 version, you had Steve McQueen worked at a bank, and he pulls off a heist as an inside job. Faye Dunaway is a insurance investigator who he ends up falling in love with, even though she's trying to catch him and, you know, find out how he stole the money. In 1999, they remade the movie with Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo. So in this one, Pierce Brosnan played a multimillionaire playboy who gets his kicks by stealing art. And Rene Russo is a detective. But it's the same thing. You know, they fall in love, even though they're one's trying to get away, the other one's trying to catch him. They're making a new version of this.
But they actually made a series, Shonda Rhimes did a series called The Catch, and it's unfortunate because that show it got canceled, but I really did enjoy it. It was a nice little cat and mouse game, and, you know, it was very flirtatious, and that's pretty much what was happening.
Right. Now, they're making a new version of it, and I couldn't find a plot on it, but it's going to star Michael B. Jordan. And I was like, no.
I like Michael, but he's fine, though.
No. Don't get me wrong. I like Michael B. Jordan. You know, I think he's going to be awesome in Black Panther. And I didn't see Creed, but all my friends who saw Creed said he was amazing in Creed.
Fantastic.
But
me too, because I didn't have that. Like, I didn't have high expectations for him in Creed either.
I kind of did. You know, I think after being in that Fantastic Four reboot that failed so horribly, I think he really needed that. I think he had to put. I mean, he seems like the type of guy with a good work ethic who doesn't just half-ass it, you know. But I think he really needed that one to work after being in Fantastic Four. And Fantastic Four wasn't his fault. It was basically just the movie was just shit around him, you know. But it just doesn't. I guess I can't really say anything until I see an actual plot to find out what's going on. But it just sounds like there's going to be some goofy-ass Marlon Wayans shit, and I'm just like, I'm not looking forward to it at all. You know, I never saw the 68 version, but I did see the one with Pierce Brosnan, and I don't really remember it. It used to come on cable. So I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through.
Pierce Brosnan version either,
yeah.
But I remember it.
Now, this one you're going to be mad at, and I'll tell you why at the end. Little Shop of Horrors is getting a remake.
No.
So the original Little Shop of Horrors movie came out in 1960. Roger Corman directed it, and Roger Corman is known for, you know, his B-movie schlock. And then in '86, they made a new version of it with Rick Moranis. Now, I never saw Little Shop of Horrors. I'm not into musicals and stuff like that, even though it had an intriguing story, you know, about a man who finds a plant and it finds out it can talk, and then finds out it's carnivorous and it needs he has to kill
feed
people
on people. Yeah, it needs blood. Feed
me, Seymour. But
I had just posted a clip from Little Shop of Horror because when it was a scene with the upcoming eclipse, of course. I thought about that scene and a couple of other movies that featured scenes where the eclipse is happening, and Little Shop of Horrors was on that list because that's when he discovered the plant.
Right.
An eclipse game.
But the new one is in pre-production, so they don't have an actual cast yet. But one of the people who they were looking at to play the lead, Rebel Wilson. Let me tell you about Rebel Wilson, in my opinion. I think Rebel Wilson is about as funny as a dead horse in a swimming pool. And the horse died in the pool on Friday, and now it's Tuesday. And you're the only person available to get this thing out of the pool. That's Rebel Wilson to me. So I don't know how she's getting work. I don't like her. I don't like movies that she's in. So now granted, they're looking at her for this. She's not signed on for it. But just the fact that they're looking at her for this is just telling me...
Mr. Mushnick, or... That's the thing, too. Like, it depends. I could take her in doses. Like, don't get me wrong. I could take her in doses. So if she's going to be like, she cannot be fucking Audrey. That's number one. So, no. But if she's going to be like Mr. Mushnick, and I get to be satisfied by, like, watching her get eaten by Audrey, too, okay, fine. You know, because Mr. Mushnick was there, but he didn't have, like, an integral role. Like, it wasn't like he was, you know, he wasn't Rick Moranis, and he wasn't the girl that, I can't remember her name, but, you know, he wasn't Audrey.
Right.
Or even Steve Martin. So, I could take her in doses. And do I get to watch her get eaten?
Yeah, and my thing is this, you know, I don't know how the other one rated, because I don't know if they rate movies that old, but on Rotten Tomatoes, Little Shop of Horrors is sitting at 90%. So
it's a classic.
So even though I've never seen it, I know everybody else who I know who's watched it, they love it, and it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show cult classic to them.
It is.
So just out of respect for that, I wouldn't want them to tinker with it, especially if they're going to just half-ass it with the cast. And the last movie on my list for this week is The Raid Redemption. Now I know what you're thinking. Never heard this movie before. It is it is one of a few Indonesian kung fu flicks, right? And if you want to see how crazy the kung fu is in this movie, look up Batman and Hammer Girl. Trust me on that one. And yeah, it's really, really raw. You know, it was the first kung fu movie in a long time that made me just take notice, like, wow. Since like the Tony Jaa movies, where it's like, yeah, these guys are all in it. And now they're making an American version of it. I don't know who's going to be in it yet. They don't really have, well, and the plot's pretty much going to be the same. The Raid Redemption was basically there's some crime lord holed up at the top of a high-rise, and about a SWAT team that has to fight their way from the bottom all the way to the top to get this drug lord. Very simple plot. You know, it's always good in kung fu movies when the plots are simple, but there's a lot of action in it. And I'll say this: Americans are good at making action movies. Americans are not good at making kung fu movies. We suck at it. Okay. The Asians run rings around us. You know why? You know why The Matrix was so freaking awesome? Because Yen Wu Ping did the choreography for it. Yen Wu Ping is one of the most celebrated action choreographers of all time. And when I found out that he was doing the choreography for The Matrix, I was like, yeah. I was going to watch it before then because I love science fiction. But when I found out he was doing the choreography for it, I was like, yeah, this is going to be amazing. And it was amazing. So I don't know who's going to be the choreographer for this, but I'm already giving it a no because we just don't do kung fu movies all that well. We're just not good at it, you know. Jackie Chan had a joke, and he was talking about working with American stuntmen, right? Mm-hmm. And he says that how safe the stunts are, because he was like, yeah, they measure distances and they test for wind resistance. You know, the stunts are so safe. He says in Asia, it's basically like, hey, Jackie, do you think you can make that jump? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, action. Jackie, in his almost 50-year career doing action movies, has broken just about every bone in his body. That's not an exaggeration. I think the only bone he hasn't broken is in his inner ear. You know, he has a permanent hole in his head from falling out of a tree and landing on a rock. So, yeah, he's, you know, and, you know, he does movies now, and they're like, well, he used a stunt double for that. Yeah, because he's 62 years old. He's not supposed to be flying out of buildings anymore, you know?
Yeah, he already put his work in.
Yeah, but we don't do kung fu movies all that well, so we should just not do it, I think. But we'll see what it looks like when the trailer comes out. But that's all I had.
Should be fun. We'll see. It'll be fun to circle back and see where these end up and how they fare.
And for some of the ones who are in pre-production, let's see who they get to do these roles.
Right, because that's going to make, I mean, everything transitions. Like I said, the trailer, that'll make the difference too.
Yes, just like it did with when they did the remake of It. The trailer is the reason why I want to see it so bad. And the guy who's playing It now, the clown, he looks amazing. Mm-hmm. So
I'm still not sold. I think It is going to be one of those movies where I need to let someone else watch it first, someone whose movie opinion I respect, and then be like, okay, or catch it on the freebie. I always do that too, and be like, okay, well, what did the preview look like where I don't have to pay for it? It's going to be one of the two. That's the only reason I'm going to see it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of sold. Yeah, I'm definitely sold on It. I got to see it when it comes out. It comes out on the 8th, I think, of September. So a few more weeks.
So a few more weeks and just before Halloween, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So, all right.
That's all I got. Where's Blue?
Yeah, Blue's not feeling too good, so we're just kind of, and we didn't hear from Nation or from Charles, so I guess we're just,
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to get ready for work.
All right. So, let me see. Did he text me? All right. So, that's all I had. I figured we were all going to be going around robin and soak up an hour, and I think we just talked about an hour on 3 topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yep. So I'm about to get ready to go to work. I should be ready for like my ratchetness, be back on schedule. I was dealing with some school stuff and work stuff, so
right.
I fell behind on my shows this week, so I'll probably get caught up at the center today at the part-time, and then start watching some shows to get caught up.
Oh no, I wanted to start watching some of that ratchet stuff so I could join in the conversations, but I'm already not that bright, so I don't want the last of my intelligence to slip away.
It's such sin. I promise you it does. Like, I feel like, but everybody needs that downtime. You have to just say, all right, but you have to know when to cut it off too, because there's a ton of reality shows out there. I don't watch all of them because I know my brain can't take all of that.
Right.
So it's all about balances, checks and balances for yourself. I don't watch Basketball Wives yet. I still know what's going on that show, but I don't watch it, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I just cut it off at the Love and Hip Hop series, and then class it up a little bit with the Real Housewives. It's so ratchet, but it's just an elevated level of ratchetness. That's all.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. I don't watch Black Ink. Unless something real crazy happens, I might watch a clip or two here and there.
Yeah. It's kind of like music. I think. Yeah, I did get a lot of my style and stuff like that from my music. I had my Black Fisherman hat and my X-Clan bird stick and stuff like that. But in the end, you just realize that it's entertainment, But, for some people, it's a little bit more. So you always got to be careful. And like you said, you got to know when to unplug.
Exactly. Just like anything in life. That's it.
Now I talk about unplugging. I got 5 more episodes of The Defenders to watch. So that's what I'll be doing the rest of the day. Going back and forth between doing laundry and watching The Defenders.
Okay.
So it was only 8 episodes. I was pissed at that. I'm like, come on, man. Daredevil's 13 episodes. Defenders with all 4 heroes is 8 episodes. Y'all killing me, man. So...
Well, I heard it's good. Maybe I'll check that out tomorrow. It's usually quiet on Sundays too, so Sundays is a good day to binge watch.
Yeah.
everybody sings, everybody raps, everybody models. So who's that left to clap? But when there's no one in the back, you still be my audience. And whenever I hear my name, I know it's you who's calling it. If I'm a work of art, I know it's you who's drawing it. You who puts my picture in a frame. You who smiles when they mention my name. You who stands out dressed up in the rain, just waiting to buy tickets just to see me get on stage. From the moment that I've seen your face, the day I saw your face, right then I knew it'd be okay. Then I knew it'd be okay. I hope that this moment would last forever. Make it last forever. You speak directly to my soul, and whenever you rap, it's like I'm indirectly told. Everything you're thinking versus everything you know. That's why bitches try to spit your verses everywhere you go. Get inside your head, try to make you think they comprehend. Know that they can't touch you, so they try to do it